Review. I am your host, author Dorcent. The Just Right Review brings not only the book, but the heart of the author to you. I'm super excited today. As always, I'm always excited to have our guest today, Dr. Calvin Ellison. Thank you so much for being on today's show.
It's my utmost pleasure to be with you.
I appreciate you so much. Dr. Calvin, I have to always tell the story how we met, because the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord.
Yes.
You interviewed me on your show, Vibrant Living.
Yes.
And I so appreciated that. And I was so impressed by your professionalism and your heart for God. And when I started this, I said I definitely wanted to have you on the show. So I do appreciate you.
Well, thank you.
To tell our viewing audience that Dr. Ellison is a nutritional consultant. He has been on a variety of shows, radio as well as television. You share with the country your wonderful natural health techniques. And it's wonderful. You can see it upon him. You can see the glow upon him. So he's doing something right. He's definitely doing something right. And we just appreciate you and what you do. You've also been a senior pastor for how many years?
For 20 years, actually.
20 years pastor in church with your wife, Judy Ellison, and have 2 sons.
Yes.
And so you have just been very active in our community and sharing with us. And we appreciate you very, very much.
Well, thank you.
What made you write beyond your comfort zone?
Well, I think, Sister Dorcent, it's my present day experience that I was being pulled once again out of my comfort zone.
Okay.
And so I think it was part of the evolution or the transition that I'm in right at this present time. And just a lot of reading and studying, and certain things just keep popping up here and there, and then I'm looking at where I'm at, and all of a sudden come the emergence of that title, Beyond Your Comfort Zone. You know, how to realize your full potential.
Share a little bit with us. When you step out of your comfort zone, what was that like?
Oh wow, it's like it's almost like you're naked again. You know, because you have to let go of some of the known to embrace the unknown that's out there. So it's like bringing you into a dependency upon God, like you've never walked in before, and realizing. And one of the things that helped me to step out is understanding that God owns the unknown, and He's already there. So that encouraged me to want to go ahead and step out, as I have learned to do in the past. But each step is a larger step, if you would. And so, yeah.
It's real faith.
It's real faith.
It's
real-time faith.
Real-time faith, and it's in action.
Yes.
And so when you step out of your comfort zone, you're stepping into real faith.
Yes.
You can't see it.
Oh, no.
But you know He's there.
But you know He's there.
Awesome. So in other words, it's not that we don't believe it. We believe it. We know God is real.
We know He is.
He's creator of the universe and everything in it. But we don't want to step out of that comfort zone. We want to stay where it's safe.
Yes. Yes. We don't want to be harmed or anything like that because we felt how that feels. And so we'd rather stay in that comfort zone, but yet at the same time desiring the greater, desiring the more. But it requires that we step out so we can see that fuller life, that brighter life, that better life that is out there. And you know, one of the unique things, Sister Dorcent, about that too, is it's not like we've never done it before. We did it when we went from being at home with Dad and Mom to going to the first grade or the kindergarten to the first grade. We left primary school to go to middle school. When we left middle school to go to high school. When we left high school to go to college. So it's not like we don't know it, but when that moment comes again, we meet that stuff all over again, except on a larger scale, and we want to tend by human nature to want to stay back when destiny is calling us forward.
And I could relate to that. God has been calling me out of my comfort zone. So when I read you, and I think I emailed you, when I read your premise, I said, you wrote this for me.
I remember that.
I was like, oh my gosh, because He's calling me. But it's a scary thing.
But you know, I like the point that you brought out, because when you're younger, you don't think about the unknown. You just want to do it. You just want to emerge. And I believe that part of the problem as we get older is this right here. We know too much.
Wow, that's good stuff.
Because the younger, they don't know that much, but the older we know all of this, and like, should I do this? Should I do that? But when we're younger, no, I'm just going for it.
It made me think about Adam and Eve. When they were created, they had to rely solely on God. They could not eat from the tree.
The knowledge of good and evil.
Good and evil. They could not eat from that. So they had to rely solely on God. And that was okay. But when they ate from the tree, they knew too much.
Mhm.
Then they pulled back.
They pulled back.
And that's what we do.
Wow.
We know too much.
Yeah.
And I don't think that God put the tree there because he didn't want us to know. He wanted us to rely.
Yes, come on.
And that's what the problem is. We don't want to rely.
We don't want to rely.
So we have to forget what we know
Mhm.
and rely. But one thing I wanted to discuss, and that was a very good point. I remember earlier in the week, I put out a post. We have to lose our mind and obtain the mind of Christ
Yes.
to fulfill the things of God.
Mhm.
And that's because like you said, we know too much. So we've got to forget our experience. Oh, it didn't work last time. It's not going to work this time.
Mhm.
What most people say, oh, you know, it didn't work for Jane and John, so it's not going to work for me. God is calling you. He's calling you to do it. Don't worry about Jane and John.
Don't worry about
Don't
that.
look about their past experiences.
Mhm.
Let this mind be in you.
That was also in Christ.
That was also
and see,
in Christ
and that's
Jesus.
where it comes in, that knowing too
That
much.
there are comfort zones. There are different kinds of comfort zones.
Yes.
Would you like to share with us about those today?
Well, I think there's one is the knowledge comfort zone.
Okay.
You know, we get comfortable. How many times have we heard people say, once I get out of high school, that's it.
That's it.
I'm through with school.
Yeah, yeah.
So we get comfortable in what we know.
Okay.
Failing to realize we didn't learn but so much in high school. Even after college, there's still a whole lot more to learn.
That's right.
Because I believe that life is a big, unending university.
Amen. Amen.
You know, and so unless we stay in the mindset of learning more, then we could get stuck in a knowledge comfort zone. But you know, then there's the you comfort zone.
The you comfort zone.
I can get comfortable with the me of today
Okay.
when the me of tomorrow is calling me.
Wow. And that's powerful.
You know, the
That
Bible
is
says that our
powerful.
life is hid in Christ, in God with Christ.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know all there is to know about me.
Well,
And unless I come out of my comfort zone
Wow.
and let God introduce more of himself to me and simultaneously introduce more of me to me, I could get stuck in what I would call a me comfort zone.
a lot of people in the me comfort zone.
Yes.
It's easy to get there.
It really is.
You go to work, you come home, you have your dinner, you go to bed.
Yeah.
Go to church on Sunday. I'm comfortable.
I'm comfortable.
Bills paid.
Come on.
And God is calling for more than that.
Yes, he is. And those who want to come out of the present me and go into the next level me, they will subject themselves to things like college,
Okay.
speakers bureaus,
Yeah.
or putting themselves in an environment that is more challenging
Right,
to
right,
them
right.
because they want to come out of themselves. They want to be greater themselves.
Right.
Then there's the
So-
geographical comfort zone.
Okay.
We can get so comfortable geographically.
Okay.
I got family members who never traveled outside the state of North Carolina.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, comfortable with the geography of just North Carolina.
Just North Carolina.
But you know, if God's going to use you greater than he desires to, he'll break you out of
Pastor
that.
say, praying people ought to travel.
Wow.
We ought to travel.
If you're praying.
You ought to travel.
Well, and if you don't want to get better, and I hate to say it in this manner, you maybe need to stop praying. Because the Bible says, call unto me and I will show you great and mightier things than what you know. So to pray is to invoke a
In
transition.
my devotional, prayer is talking, listening, and action.
Oh,
And we forget
Wow.
that. We have the talking down. Most of the time we're doing all the talking anyway.
yeah. Come
And
on.
then we're doing very little listening. And where's the action?
Where's the action?
Without the action, no transition.
Come on.
So that was good right there. Are there any other comfort zones?
Get comfortable with God.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
God is a God who's ever unveiling himself. And we can get stuck on the God of just salvation
Oh my goodness.
when there's the God of the kingdom. That's a whole nother universe right there, so to speak. See, for years, I knew God only as a God who would save me.
Okay,
But I didn't know him as Lord.
okay.
I didn't know God as the God of greater and bigger things. And if you're gonna move with God and do greater things, you gotta be prepared that God's gonna keep unveiling himself. And we know that to be true, Sister
Yes.
Dorcent, because Paul at the end of his life said this right here. Philippians chapter 3, I believe verse 10.
Okay.
He said, my determined purpose as an old man,
Yes.
my determined purpose is to still get to know him.
Wow.
And you would think this guy really ultimately knew him with the miracles and all the things that God did through his life. But here he is toward the end of his life saying, there's so much more about God that I am determined to get to know. So I don't want to get comfortable with just one revelation of God.
Becomes what he needs to be when he needs to be.
Oh, there we go.
And so I think we forget that. Because I think I was like that too. I grew up in a holiness church, and it was always, and I'm not knocking the church.
Sure.
I thank God for that church. But it was all about salvation, get saved, get saved, get saved. But I didn't know how to live.
Come on.
When I got saved, what am I supposed to do now?
That's what I'm talking
And so we
about.
limit who God is. And he is a great man.
He's the great I am. The scripture says, whom shall the Lord teach intimacy or knowledge in Isaiah? Except those who have been weaned from the breast, from the milk level of life. He said, I can't teach you a greater intimacy unless you come out of the comfort zone of the convenience that you have.
You have to tell us
how
to get this book. And then I have to add, when we get the book, we have to read the book.
Yeah, we have
you
to
know
read
how many
it.
books we have on our shelves? We have to read it, and then we have to apply it. So please share with our viewing audience how they can get their hands on this book.
Well, you can go to the BOOKS website, www.beyondyourcomfortzones.com.
Okay.
You can get it there. It's also available on Amazon, Books.A.MILLIon, Barnes & Nobles, and even Kindle as well.
So quite a few different platforms.
Yes.
That you can have access to this great book. So I want our viewing audience to know what's on the horizon for you, Dr. Ellison. Where is your writing journey going to take you next?
Well, I think it's taking me now into tours about the things that I have written.
Okay.
More television and radio. As you know, we're transitioning to Stone Mountain, Georgia.
Okay, congratulations.
And so we've already gotten on some channels there.
Right.
Atlanta Alive and the Atlanta Interfaith broadcast, and got some radio stuff that's getting ready to come up as well. So more travel. Getting ready to go back to South Africa.
Okay.
In April, actually. And so we're looking at more travel, more TV and radio.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we want to thank you once again for being on the show.
Well, thank you very much.
And we appreciate you so much.
And thank you for those dynamic words of you wrote this book just for me.
You did.
Because I heard
Because I want to read it.
I heard 1,000 yous in that statement.
1,000 years.
So many other people that I believe will be saying the same thing. That this was written just for me.
It's so. We have now aspiring author Keischa Pruden, which I like to endearingly refer to as my KP. KP is a member of Just Writing Club for the aspiring author. We have been in operation for 2 years. KP joined about a year ago.
Yes,
and we just love her. She is such a joy to have. And so when putting this show together, I was like, I gotta have my KP. And my KP is here today. KP is a wife of 20 years. She has 2 boys. She is a psychotherapist.
Yes.
And I love her because she brings that ability in our meetings. And she'll say, when we get a visitor, I love this, she'll say something like, it's okay. You're in a non-judgmental environment. It's okay to share. And we love that because that makes our guests feel comfortable. So I'm just so glad that you could be on the show today.
Thank you
and
for
to
having me.
Oh, my pleasure. And to talk about your writing goals.
I've been writing practically all of my life.
Okay.
I started out journaling as a young girl, just writing my thoughts down. And I transitioned from that to when I went to undergrad, Elizabeth City State University, go Vikings. And I started writing plays and stories and acting in plays. And I wrote for the school newspaper for a short while. And then I graduated and just continued to write in my journal. And so over the years I've collected, collections of journals. And approximately about 4 years ago, I started, walking, and for my health, just trying to, stay on this earth a little while longer. And I realized and I noticed that every time I would walk, I would hear words in my spirit. And I'm a person of faith, and I believe that God talks to you in particular ways and speaks to you in particular ways. And I discovered that He was speaking to me during my walks. And so I just started sharing what He shared with me on different posts on Facebook. And I just, just off the cuff, spontaneous, as soon as I stopped walking, I could grab my phone and I post those things. And I did that for approximately 2 to 3 years. And I started having people say, why don't you write a book? And because I love to stay in my comfort zone, I I kind of shrugged it off and said, no, I don't think that's something. Myself is that no one will buy it.
Oh.
No, it's not good enough.
Okay.
But then approximately, I would say 2 years ago, a girlfriend of mine was like, I think you really need to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, and she pushed me.
Okay.
Started collecting all of my posts and putting it in book form. So that's really been the beginning of my journey to writing. And so that book is still a book in progress. And so my inspiration just comes from my faith in God and attempting to be obedient to what He is calling me to do. I had to get over that fear of getting out of my comfort zone and actually thinking about the process of sharing my words, or God's words with a larger audience.
Yes.
And just to get over the fear of rejection.
And how was it received when you got over that fear and you started putting it out on social media? What was the reaction of others?
All positive.
All positive.
Thank you. I get a lot of inboxes from people saying thank you. What has surprised me the most, I think, is when I'm out and about and people who have never clicked the like, on the post can just tell me everything I've written and say, just keep posting it. What you posted the other day, has really helped me, and I want you to just keep doing it. And so the message, and I think it's God working through them to encourage me.
I also wanted to share that when we put stuff out, because I think a lot of times as aspiring authors, we don't get back the feedback that we think we should have gotten, and we think that it was all for null and void, and that's not the case. Because sometimes the person may not be able to get back to you and say, thank you so much for that, but they still received it. And so we can't look for that in others. So I'm glad that you just kept doing it.
Never been a time when I've gone walking or worked in my flower beds or walked with my children that I have not heard a word. And that's how I know. It's Him, it's not me.
What I have seen is your writing evolve. I have seen, because I had the opportunity to read the first draft and the second draft, and even now I'm reading your work. And now you write for, is it a couple online magazines?
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
Okay. I write for Inner Banks magazine, and that's a lifestyle magazine. I'm a contributing author for the family section, and I also write articles for The Mighty, which is a website for people with a disability. Is also an inspiration to me, as my oldest son, who's 20, he'll be 21 next week, time is flying, but he has Asperger's syndrome. So that has always been a subject for me that I fight for. I advocate for him in my practice as a therapist. I advocate for my clients, and that subject or our journey has also led to, I have a Facebook page with him, with my oldest son.
And your child is successful.
He is successful.
And look at that smile when she said that. He is. I have read your blog, and I know the challenge that you had, but at the same time you said this child was given to us, not for it to be a death sentence, not for us not to have joy. You have overcome, you have debunked a lot of the myths. And I like that. That's what you do in your writing. It's supposed to look like this, but this is what it looks like. And so you show a whole nother picture of faith. Although your son has Asperger's, the Asperger's doesn't have him.
Right.
And so you have victory in your home. Yes. What you would like to do as an author, where's your vision for your books? What do you see coming for KP?
I believe through my work I can say it's gonna be okay. Keep going. Everything that I've written up to this point, and what I'll continue to write, whether it's inspirational or it's about autism and Asperger's, is to encourage others to keep going, that there is joy on the other side of the trial. There's joy in it.
I want you to keep going with your posts, with your books, because people need them. So today we are so blessed to have Dr. Calvin here to share with you some tips for your writing, your journey to keep going. Dr. Calvin, what can you share?
Writing from your passion, because that's what people need. People need the history of your experiences, your life, and what you bring to the table. Because what you bring to the table, you'll find out, is a missing part of a puzzle in their own lives. So I just want to encourage you that you carry something that may be the fulfilling piece, or that clears the picture up for the individuals that will hear what you write or see what you write.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We'll talk about what publishing route you took and why.
Well, I've taken, in the beginning, I used a publisher.
Okay.
He has since passed away. But I used him for his particular publishing company and the route that he took me getting it set up for the Amazon and stuff too. But of recent, I've taken the independent publishing approach because of helping to cut costs and then utilize these other means of marketing the book with the social media and all those different dynamics that are out there. On my present book, we have utilized, once again, the self-publishing, but we've also positioned ourselves for the larger world, if you would, of the Amazon.
Thank you so much, KP, Keisha
Thank
Pruden,
you for
aspiring
having me.
author.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Dr. Calvin Ellison, thank you for being here today.
My pleasure to be with you all.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. And you have been watching the Just Right Review, where we not only bring the book, but the heart and the soul of the author right to you. Thank you for watching. Please share, subscribe, and share the word with your friends. Have a good day.